And guys, welcome back to my run on Battletech. Let's continue, shall we? We're at the beginning of it, so no big deal so far. Let's see.
Senator Tom Cotton saying in a statement, quote, "The only answer to these attacks must be devastating military retaliation against Iran's terrorist forces, both in Iran and across the Middle East. Anything less will confirm Joe Biden as a coward unworthy of being commander-in-chief."
The key is you've got to inflict pain on Iran, not these Shia proxy groups that Iran doesn't care about. Because we can kill all them, we can hit their facilities, we can hit their warehouses. Iran will keep flushing and sending that stuff out. Iran does not care about those assets.
The names of the 3 American soldiers killed in this attack will be released in the next 24 hours after their families are notified.
And our hearts are certainly with them. They will not be forgotten. Lucas, we talked about this before. Back in 1988, during the Iranian tanker wars, an Iranian mine blew a hole in the frigate the Samuel Roberts. President Ronald Reagan from the White House, where we are now, ordered attacks against Iran. They hit an oil platform, they hit an oil field in Iran, and President Ronald Reagan also took out about half of the Iranian Navy at the time in response to that. Any sense of that historical context being discussed now at the White House and what this president could do to respond?
Well, Eric, after now more than 160 attacks against U.S. forces across the Middle East, it's quite clear the facts in the ground right now is that Iran is not being deterred. There's certainly increased calls on Capitol Hill from lawmakers who want to see the Biden administration strike back and strike back harder, including hitting targets now. And today is a sad reminder that U.S. forces have to be perfect every time and shooting down these incoming drone missiles. And the enemy only has to get lucky one time, unfortunately, with the case.
Yeah, the president says that the U.S. will respond at a time and place of choosing. Lucas, thank you. Our people need you.
Well, Eric and Lucas, tensions have been rising in the always volatile Middle East since the Israel-Hamas war began. The question now, will today's deadly attack escalate the danger even more? Trey Diggs is live in Jerusalem. Trey, so how could this affect the region in the immediate aftermath and in the weeks to come?
Ardell, good afternoon. It's a great question. There's an understanding it is not a question of if the United States will respond to this deadly drone attack, but rather when and where. Right now, the Israelis are keeping a close eye on the situation, understanding that their forces are currently battling other Iranian proxies inside the Gaza Strip, and also from southern Lebanon, the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. There is a concern that if the United States ramps up strikes against Iranian proxies in the region or targets Iran within its own borders, there could be a response that would target this key American ally, and the Israelis have to be prepared for that possibility. But tonight, the region's still trying to get a grasp on what exactly took place, and we are getting a new statement at this hour, Ardell, from an organization that says they are responsible. We are talking about the Islamic Resistance in Iraq. This is an umbrella organization of Iran-backed Iraqi and Syrian Shia militias, and they say they were responsible for this one-way suicide drone attack that did target this Tower 22 outpost. In a statement, the organization said they were, quote, continuing their approach to resisting the American occupation forces in Iraq and the region, and this is in response to the massacres of the, quote, Zionist entity against our people in Gaza. Now, while the Iranians and their proxies want the world to believe this is all about the war inside Gaza that's been ongoing since the October 7th massacre 114 days ago, analysts understand this is about Tehran and officials there trying to light the Middle East on fire. They want this to play to their advantage, and they're hoping that a broader regional war would do just that. Arda?
And they put it on paper to Tehran-backed militias using the Israel-Hamas war and Israel's response in Gaza as an excuse to attack U.S. troops. So how might Netanyahu react to this? I mean, will he see his war against Hamas as separate?
Affirmative.
The Israelis have been preparing for the possibility of striking Iran for years, understanding that the developing nuclear program in Iran is a direct threat to the Jewish state. So the Israelis will be watching tonight and the following days very closely between Jordan and Syria. We can't expect counterparts to be briefing one another. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin likely to speak with Yoav Gallant, the country's Minister of Defense here in Israel, because again, there is concern that if this unravels into a broader regional war, Iran may not directly respond, but instead use their main proxy in the region, Hezbollah, in southern Lebanon, who launch missiles or rockets into Israel. And that's part of what the Israelis have been dealing with the past 3 months since this war erupted in early October, and it's part of what their preparations are, because when you look at the organization that is taking responsibility for this deadly drone attack against American forces in Jordan, it's the same organization that took responsibility for rocket and drone attacks against major Israeli population centers, including Israel's third largest city of Haifa and their southernmost city of Eilat. So in the future, the coming days, it is certainly something that Israel will have to be looking out for, and you can't expect Israeli forces and air defense systems to remain on high alert. Martel?
Indeed, Trey Yanks, as always, thank you. Eric?
Without this attack, only the latest on U.S. forces in the Middle East over the past 3 months, most of them claimed on those American proxies. As we have said, there have been at least 159 attacks under that map all across the area since the Israelis and Hamas war began, and Hamas brutally attacked Israel at that time. Well, today's assault, however, is the first deadly one for our forces and the first one to strike in Jordan. Joining us on the phone is our Chief National Security Correspondent, Jennifer Griffin. Jennifer, first question, Secretary of Defense Austin back on the job. What is the Pentagon saying in their reaction about this attack?
Well, the Pentagon is saying that Secretary Austin will be in the Pentagon for the first time since his December 22nd surgery tomorrow. He'll be there to host an honor court. And when he did participate in all the calls with the president and to brief the president today, so he's been engaged from home via secure link. This is what's interesting, Eric, is this is not just the deadliest attack on U.S. forces since October 7th and the war in Gaza. It's the deadliest attack on U.S. forces since Abbey Gate in August of 2021, when that suicide bomber killed 13 U.S. service members. Tower 22, which is based on the border with Syria, just across the border inside Jordan, is at an interesting inflection point and crossing point. It's where Iraq, Jordan, and Syria come together, and in fact, not very far away is Iraq's Al-Walid air base, and as well as the Atam base where those U.S. Special Forces have been based. There's a 55-kilometer safe zone around the Atam base, and that is protected very, very carefully. But those hundreds of U.S. troops that are at Tower 22 and were hit while they were sleeping last night, they generally serve as logistical support to those U.S. Special Forces and Special Operators at Atam. It is interesting to note the timing of this attack. It came as word of a possible ceasefire in Gaza and release of hostages. Remember, CIA Director Bill Burns was meeting with the Egyptians and the Mossad chief, as well as the Prime Minister of Qatar over the weekend, and there was some expected good news in coming hours and days. It's very clear that it also coincides with talks between the U.S. and Iraq this week about the future of U.S. forces in Iraq. It is clear that the Iranians, under this new umbrella group that they have formed of proxy forces, including the Hezbollah and others, they have called themselves the Islamic Resistance of Iraq, which translates to Hamas of Iraq. There's a reason that Iran is trying to link these attacks on U.S. forces and attempts to push the U.S. bases out of Iraq to the fight in Gaza because of the popularity in the Arab Street and across the region in terms of anti-Israel sentiment because of the Gaza fighting. But this is clearly time to disrupt not only a possible ceasefire in Gaza, but also talks between the U.S. and Iraq. Secretary Austin issued a statement in which he said he was, quote, outraged and deeply saddened by the deaths and those who have been wounded in this attack. He said, quote, Iran-backed militias are responsible for these continued attacks on U.S. forces. We will respond at a time and place of our choosing. That statement came out just a little while ago. So right now we are, in a watch and wait mode. You've heard the president as well as the defense secretary saying that the U.S. will respond. Eric?
Yeah, and the question, of course, what that response will be and if it will target any Iranian assets. Jennifer Griffin, as always, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Eric and Jennifer, thank you for more on this right now. We're bringing in Jamil Jaffer. He's the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute. And I do want to pick up, Jamil, where Jennifer just left off. In addition to expressing outrage and deep sadness, elsewhere in his statement, Defense Secretary Austin, similar to what Jennifer just reported, he says non-bat militias are responsible for these continued attacks on U.S. forces, and we will respond at a time and place of our choosing. The President and I will not tolerate attacks on American forces, and we will take all necessary actions to defend the United States, our troops, and our interests. Of course, Jamil, those are strong words. What type of action should back up those words?
Well, you know, Arthur, the challenge here is that we've been seeing these attacks go on and on and on. I mean, this is over 150 attacks since October alone, but well over 200-300 attacks in the last few years. So this has been happening over and over again. It goes back to even our time with a lot more forces in Iraq and Syria, where Qatar, Hezbollah, and Ansar al-Haq, these Iranian-backed groups, were sending explosive war penetrators. Iran was sending explosive war penetrators to kill American troops. So this is nothing new, and we've really got to take very stiff action, and it's got to be directly against Iran. It cannot be any more against the Houthis, whether proxies in Yemen, or against the proxy groups in Iraq and Syria. We did take some very stiff action in Baghdad, taking out a leader a few weeks back. That is clearly not enough. We've now got to take action directly against Iran, and we have a precedent for this. We know that President Trump took action against Qasem Soleimani, the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Quds Force, a few years back, when we saw these counterattacks begin the last time in the last administration.
So, given your experience, Jamil, what do you make of the timing of these attacks, and what are you laser focused on in the next 48 hours?
Well, I was focused on whether the U.S. is going to take direct action now. It's great to say a time and place for choosing. Of course, we should wait until we have the right moment. But the action has to be strong, it has to be decisive, it has to be clear, and it has to be targeted directly at Iran. So I'm looking for the President and Secretary of Defense Austin to step up and do the right thing and take action directly against Iran. Economic sanctions aren't it. It's got to be a military action, and it's got to hit Iran where it hurts.
So, this is a volatile situation, and we've had General Kellogg on saying earlier, we have to keep a cool head, we have to be strong, forceful in our retaliation, it has to be purposeful, but it cannot be emotional. So I ask you, is there a way to avert an all-out World War scale escalation?
I do think there's a way to avoid it. Iran does not want to provoke a war with the United States, and they know that's a war they cannot win, so they don't want to provoke it. What they're looking to do is continue to take advantage of the fact that we have not actually responded against them. We've taken shots at their proxies on occasion, frankly not often enough, but we've never come directly at them. In fact, to the contrary, this administration has engaged in giving Iran money, sanctions relations with the West in an effort to that was a mistake from the beginning. The president just admitted to say so, and then an offensive attack.
So how do you re-engineer that and go back to whatever was
Well, the one thing that Iran, just like Russia and China and North Korea, frankly understands, it's force, right? They don't understand when we talk about diplomacy, we talk about negotiating. That is not terms in which they operate. They pretend to operate those terms. The nuclear deal is a good example, but then they extort us and ultimately hop out of those things and don't actually effectively take action. So what we need to do now is respond in ways they understand, which is to use force. And so, look, they don't want to provoke a war with the United States. They need to know that's a war they cannot win. And as a result, just like they felt free to come after our people and injure dozens of Americans and now killing 3 Americans in Jordan, right? We should be clear. We will take action against Iran if we need to. And if that means killing senior Iranian leadership, so be it.
Okay, we'll leave it there, Joe Jaffer. Thank you very much.
Well, President Biden facing mounting pressure on Capitol Hill to retaliate militarily for the deadly attacks on our troops. In a moment, we'll have a reaction from Congress and analysis from former Deputy National Security Advisor K.D. McFarland on how our military should respond amid the looming shadow of theocratic bullies.
Attention, all Espinosa forces. This is Lady Victoria Espinosa. Lady Arano is to be apprehended and taken alive by my command. Failed to follow these instructions, and you will have me to deal with.
Back like a pro. With Chase right about limits. How do you catch back?
Okay, everyone. Try to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and ensure complete with 30 grams of protein.
Some people go to the ends of the earth to find adventure. You just have to travel to the end of the road. Because here in Key West, we're the launching point for a world of breathtaking action and excitement. From deep sea quests and shallow water pursuits, to living history lessons and journeys on a bounding bay. Key West, close to perfect, far from normal.
Before planning a big trip, you were limping thanks to a bad knee. Then you heard about Mako robotic-assisted units. It starts with a CT scan to pinpoint the problem. It becomes a personalized 3D plan to guide your doctors during surgery. Mako can help lead to better outcomes with less pain and shorter recovery times. The lifetime mobility plan is limited, and revision surgery may be required. Individual results and recovery times vary. Risks of surgery include pain, infection, heart attack, stroke, death, and other serious risks. Ask your doctor for important safety information. To find a doctor who uses Mako, visit MakoCare.com.
We will no longer be prisoners to you, Victor. We shall fly south to where the courts are eternally parched, and we will do so with consumers selling the same
Attention, citizens of Coromedere 6. This is Lord Santiago Espinosa. With the unanimous support of the founding houses, I have assumed for your own protection, I urge you to remain calm and stay indoors until otherwise instructed. All hostile units, stand down, and you have my oath that you will not be harmed. This is fire.
Do you let
Figure that man. I gave him my trust.
Family came to Canada. The situation in our country wasn't the safest. I had trouble fitting in, and learning the language was very hard. Therefore, making friends was also very hard. The program helped me a lot because I met other kids who were going through the same school as them. So I was able to relate and find somewhere where I could fit in. Thanks to your support of United Way, I'm able to achieve my dreams and become a doctor.
Can I take your order? Hello?
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. What's grabbing my combo extra big?
No. Can I get a burger with a side of fries? Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Mad Canada.
Well, growing calls for President Biden to take action after a drone strike killed 3 U.S. troops in Jordan overnight. But the attack is also renewing a bipartisan push by lawmakers demanding to know who has the power to authorize the use of military force, Congress or the president. For more on this, Fox News senior congressional correspondent Chad Burgwood joins us now on the phone. So, Chad, doesn't the commander-in-chief have the power to authorize use of military force and then has to follow up with an explanation to Congress?
Yeah, there's two things.
That's your best shot.
President, commander-in-chief, and has full military might at his beck and call. The other thing would be the War Powers Resolution of 1973, which gives presidents more latitude to commission strikes and retaliation and report to Congress, although some in Congress have found that to be a little clumsy over the years. This was put together in the shadow of Vietnam. And that's why some people said, what it's basically done is empowered administrations of both parties and Congress is less than an inch here. The question right now, Arthel, is the U.S. at war or kind of in a shadow war? And that's where you have these military operations that have been going on against the Houthis for a while now.
what is the authorization to do that? If you look at Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, it gives Congress. If you listen to some of the rhetoric, especially from the right, from like Tom Cotton, Republican senator from Arkansas, he says the United States should get Iran, and he says if the president does that will confirm that Joe Biden is a coward. His word is the grand call for action on the ground in Iran, specifically on U.S. soil. And then with the same token here, you have Mitch McConnell, who has said on the floor of the Senate over the past week that he believes that the president has the authority to do what he needs to do, but wishes that he would have done more of it. And he says, quote in a statement this afternoon, Mitch McConnell, that Iranian sponsors of this type of action is terrorism, quote, wear American blood as a badge of honor.
So, we are in a very tenuous situation. Chad, a quick answer on this for me. I mean, how much do you think politics will muck this up? Pardon that expression.
Certainly, Republicans wish to cast doubt on just how competent the president is in these foreign affairs. And you can see them in a presidential election year using this to portray the administration as being soft on Iran and letting the situation get out of hand. They've been hammering him for a while. You do have politics on the other side of the aisle. Barbara Lee, Democrats in Oakland, running for the Senate, voted against the authorization to go into Afghanistan after 9/11. And she said, quote, the violence is spiraling out of control. She said, must have a ceasefire in Gaza.
All right, Chad, thank you very much for all of those details there from Capitol Hill. Eric.
Thank you.
But for months, the attacks against Western shipping and our forces have continued despite our and our allies' strikes against the terrorists. Now, sadly, the tragic result, the many feared, American blood spilled by Iranian-backed terrorist groups. The President Biden is saying, have no doubt we will hold all those responsible to account at a time and in a manner of our choosing. So, what will that be? Former Deputy National Security Advisor under President Trump, KT McFarland, joins us now. KT, do you have confidence that the administration will appropriately retaliate against Iran in the wake of the killing of our forces?
Haven't done so far. I can't imagine they are going to do it. Because here's the problem. People on one side are saying, well, we got to attack Iran. We have to go attack Iran. Right. I can understand that. But on the other hand, the Biden administration will do something. I'm not sure they'll love you and school and probably pound sand. Bomb a couple of places where nobody gets hurt. But it isn't deterring Iran. And the thing I keep going back to is when I was in the Reagan administration in the late 1980s, President Reagan was commander-in-chief, and the Iranian Navy fired on American vessels late 90s, American ships were struck. And what the retaliation was a letter to the Iranian Navy to have the Iranian Navy report. He hadn't heard from Iran after that for years, decades. What Iran did was they learned the lesson. They did not want a direct attack on Iran. So they put all these proxies all over this. Proxies in Lebanon, proxies in Gaza, proxies in Yemen, proxies in Lebanon, and Syria, and Iraq. And those are the people who are now attacking American and allied forces, military, and commercial vessels. That's where we should start. To go and bomb Iran right now, when we should be bombing the airfields of the North
Got my attention.
or missile launchers that are firing on our ships. That's where you go first. But then also target Iran's economy. We don't want a full-blown war in the Middle East. On the other hand, we can't just continue to do nothing because Iran is showing that through its proxies it's upping the ante every time. What happens now if a week from now an American ship is struck and sunk and 200 Americans are dead? Then there will be possible and they're sucked into another forever war in the Middle East, which we're not prepared to fight. We don't want it, and which could have been prevented if we could reestablish deterrence.
You referenced what happened in the 1980s, the Iranian tank war. We've been talking about this for several years. 1988, I think it was April. Samuel B. Roberts, a U.S. frigate, hit that Iranian line. Several sailors were severely injured in that. You were absolutely right that President Ronald Reagan ordered bombing of an Iranian oil platform, bombing of an Iranian oil field, and then he took out, as you said, about half of the Iranian Navy. And at that time, no one was killed. What type of reaction do you want to see from President Biden right now against the IRGC, against the Quds Force? What can the U.S. attack, perhaps in Iran, Now, that would send the blunt message to Tehran.
I wouldn't attack Iran now. I say that, or maybe you need to do it later. But what you could attack right now is the airfields that the drones are coming out of, whether it's in Syria or Iraq. Take out the Othan in Yemen, where the Houthis are using to have missile launches against U.S. forces. Take those proxy places out, because if you do have to fight Iran down the road, you don't want to have firing coming from all those other places in the United States. So take those out first, and take those out within the next 48 hours. We know the airfields. We know where those missile launchers are. We know where those ammunition dumps are in the proxy countries. Take that stuff out now.
Talk to me.
And then we'll see what Iran's response is. Maybe they respond, maybe they don't. Or if they do,
I'll bring you in.
Yeah, okay, the U.S. has been doing that, against the Houthi launch sites, for example.
Oh, come on. We said we did it, but we took out 20% of their capacity. We could have done the Biden administration a couple weeks ago. They made a big deal. Oh, we're taking out those missile launchers. We're taking out
Target
the Houthis.
destroyed.
It turns out it wasn't done so well. They've taken out 20% of their capability. How about taking out 90% of their capability? We could do that in Yemen. We could do that in Syria. We could do that in Iraq. We could do that throughout the region. Go after those proxy forces first. That's what the problem is. The Biden administration hasn't done that. They've had strong statements, they've gone to the UN, they've had ineffective attacks, but they haven't taken out the places where the missiles are coming from, or where the drones are taking off from. That's where you should go first.
And finally, if the administration does not do that, but takes some other type of softer action, what is your prediction?
Affirmative.
Softer action. If they take softer action and just, strong statements to follow, we're going to have more of these and more of these. The proxies are upping the ante every day. They're becoming more frequent, they're becoming more intense, and at some point, just the defensive thing, we're doing perimeter defense. It's like we're shooting a missile out as it's just strategically preparing their vessel. At some point, we're going to lose them, we're going to watch them get through, and then we're going to have mass aircraft conflicts, and then we are going to be forced into a war. It's probably a war we'll win, but do we really want another war?
We passed it, which is good.
Force the sanctions. Push the price of oil down. Guess what? Iran doesn't have the money to pay the proxies to go to war. But in the next 24, 48 hours, we need to take out the sites where these missiles are coming from in the proxy states.
Iran, all the wars leading to Tehran kicking forward. Good to see you.
Eric, the deadly attack on American forces marks a significant escalation in the Middle East after months of drone and missile attacks by Iran's proxy militant groups. Our breaking news coverage continues up next.
Not flossing well? Then add the Listerine to your routine. New science shows Listerine is 5 times more effective, reducing plaque above the gum for a cleaner, healthier mouth. Listerine, feel the whoa.
I was just feeling sick. Hey, what's the worst thing? Missing. No, it's fine.
Excellent. We did it.
With rhabdo myosarcoma.
Once we got the first initial hit, just straight tears, sickness, and
We did it.
just don't want to get up out of bed. That's it. Well, you gotta look on the bright side.
Gonna pack a bowl. I got a nice little bong here for me.
But St. Jude's got this story. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital works day after day to find cures and save the lives of children with cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Thanks to generous donors like you. For treatment. So they can focus on helping their child.
Without all those donations, St. Jude's not able to do all of the exceptional work that they do.
For just $19 a month, you'll help us continue the life-saving research and treatment these kids need.
No matter if it's a big business or just the grandmother that donates once a month, they are changing people's lives. And that's a big deal.
Join your debit or credit Go online or scan the QR code below.
My favorite thing about being a grandfather, I think, is the hugs. I'm very grateful I have all my grandchildren. They're so loving. Balance in nature gives me that extra edge. I can get through the busy times without fading. The energy I get from balance in nature allows me to live life to the fullest.
Our New Year's offer will end on January 31st. Order today to get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement with your first order as a preferred customer by using discount code Fox News.
With thyroid eye disease, I hid from the camera, and I wanted to hide from the world. For years, I thought my TED was beyond help. But then, I asked my doctor about Tepezza.
Tepezza is the only medicine that treats TED at the source, not just the symptoms. In a clinical study, more than 8 out of 10 patients taking Tepezza had less eye bulging. Tepezza is an infusion and may cause infusion reactions. Tell your doctor right away if you experience high blood pressure, fast heartbeat, shortness of breath, or muscle pain. Before treatment, tell your doctor if you have diabetes, IBD, or are pregnant or planning to become pregnant. Tepezza may raise blood sugar and may worsen IBD. Tepezza may cause severe hearing problems, which may be permanent.
Now, I'm ready to be seen again.
Visit mytepezza.com to find a TED eye specialist and to see Bridget's before and after photos.
As President Biden vowing that we will respond since South Carolina moments ago. Vowing to respond to that drone strike that killed 3 American service members at the remote base in Jordan overnight. At least 2 dozen more of our troops were wounded. The president blaming Iranian proxies for it. CB Cobb, live here in New York City, with much more on this. CB?
Hi, Eric. Well, as Chad Program has been reporting, the question
Which is sad.
among some members of Congress is who has the authority to make sure someone is held responsible for this? The U.S. has taken several retaliatory actions against Iran-backed proxies in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen in recent months. But, Republicans have been especially critical, saying it's not enough. Today, after this attack in Jordan, killing three Army soldiers, they're renewing that message. Former presidential hopeful Governor Ron DeSantis writing on X, Joe Biden has made our troops sitting ducks, and he allows our enemies to attack them with impunity. Biden's weakness is getting our troops killed. Rest in peace to our 3 fallen service members. Florida Republican Congressman and Army veteran Mike Waltz writing, it was only a matter of time before Biden's appeasement strategy towards Iran got American service members killed. Republican Senator of Alaska and Colonel in the Marine Corps Reserve Dan Sullivan writing in part, the president needs to order a clear, lethal, and overwhelming response that demonstrates to Iran and to the world that whoever targets our men and women in uniform or supports these attacks will face the full might of the U.S. military. Reaction from Democrats coming in too. House Democratic leader Congressman Hakeem Jeffries writing, heartbroken and outraged by the death of 3 U.S. service members and the wounding of many others during the horrific terrorist attack in the Middle East. Praying hard for all affected. Every single malignant actor responsible must be held accountable. Democratic Senator of Illinois and Army veteran Tammy Duckworth.
Excellent. 3 years later. Holy shit. Jesus.
3 American service members killed, and to all those injured while bravely serving their nation and working to keep the rest of us safe. California Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff writing, to the families of the fallen and wounded in this attack in Jordan, our nation celebrates with you. In this moment of sorrow, we stand united in our grief and with unending gratitude for their service. This clear escalation of the Middle East conflict is showing a lot of response today in heartbreak. Eric will close the All right, guys, thank you very much. Well, today's attack, the first deadly one on U.S. forces in the Middle East since Israel's war against Hamas began on October 7th. In that time, Iranian proxy groups have attacked our forces in the region at least 160 times. Retired U.S. Navy Captain Chuck Nash joins us now. And Captain Nash, if you could first of all, I want to start here because it's my understanding that some of the injured troops from last night's attack were headed back to Washington and Germany. Give us an idea of what is going on logistically to get our service members to less vulnerable positions in the Middle East.
Well, we've got over 2,000 service personnel stationed in Jordan. Most of them are at an air base down close to Amman. This attack took place out on what we'll call the frontier. But the folks at the air base are there mostly for logistics. So any of the wounded would be taken to that air base and then flown to Landstuhl, which is a magnificent hospital, and they specialize in critical casualty care. So that's the first best place to go. After that, once the patients are stable, they'll probably be flown to the National Military Medical Center at Walter Reed, Bethesda.
Excellent. Good mission. I'm definitely saving it, that's for sure.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin expressed outrage and said he is deeply saddened by the deaths of 3 of our service members and the wounding of other American troops. Secretary Austin also said the troops were in northeastern Jordan to work for the lasting defeat of ISIS. So I ask you, how will the attack impact that mission, and is ISIS strong enough?
Excellent. I'm going to check you guys next time, alright? Peace out.
Iranian proxy attack.
Well, a lot of what's going on there on the frontier, which is in the border of Jordan and Syria and Iraq,